What's up guys, Jared here with you, and today I'm going to show you a couple of my favorite and most used items for the 2022 hunting season. So season's wrapping up here, it's over in West Virginia. I'm probably not going to make it out anymore for this hunting season, so kind of going through my gear, looking at what worked, what didn't, what was my favorite, and I thought I'd make a short little video here for you guys and show you kind of my most used items from this past season. So I'm going to start here with the most expensive item first, but probably my favorite, and that is my Insta360 360 degree camera. Now we'll go over the pros first and then a couple of the cons. So pros, if you're a self filmer and you need a second angle camera, a 360 camera is just absolutely the way to go. So if you're not familiar with a 360 degree camera, basically this camera has two lenses on it, one on the front, one on the back, and it basically captures everything 360 degrees around you. And then obviously you go in editing and kind of choose your framing and all that. But this is the Insta360 1RS 1-inch edition. This is the new one that they came out with last year, and I picked this thing up before hunting season, took it to California, took it to Iowa. It literally was on every single hunt with me this year. The image quality on this thing is absolutely insane. You can get amazing video, time lapses, just really cool creative stuff with this camera, and it's just such a big benefit to have that camera in the tree with you. If you're self-filming, as most of you know, trying to get the deer in frame with your main camera, get the shot off and all that is sometimes just a huge pain. But with the 360 camera, it really allows you to get all the angles you need, and if the deer happens to walk out of frame or something like that, you're most likely going to capture it on the 360 camera. And one good example of that was here on a hunt in West Virginia during the rut. I had a buck come in. I was trying to self-film. I didn't feel like I could get away with getting the camera moved over and getting him perfectly on frame. The deer was like 7 yards away, so he was super close. So I mainly relied on this camera to capture everything, and it did an awesome job. And obviously I'm showing you some of that footage while I'm talking, but this camera is it's just awesome. It's gonna be awesome in the turkey woods as well. And I've been using a 360 camera for the past couple years, but it was a different model. Obviously you don't have to go as expensive as this one, and that's one of the cons I was going to get into, is this camera is like almost 800 bucks. It's super expensive. So there are other versions out there. You've got the 1RS, just the regular edition. You've got, I think, the X2 that they make, that's about half the price of this one. So kind of depends on your price range and what you can afford. But if you're super serious about self-filming, I would highly recommend this one. The battery life is great. It's been super rugged. I've had it out in the rain, beat on it pretty good this past year, and it's just worked phenomenally, and you can just get some super creative, really cool stuff with that thing. All right, so moving on from the 360 camera, we're gonna get into one of the clothing items that I really, really loved this past season, and that is the Source jacket from First Light. Now, as most of you know, we've got a good relationship with the guys over at First Light, and we're kind of partnered up with them. But I've been using their stuff for the past 2 seasons, and I really love most of it. There's a few things that I might change here and there, but for the most part, I really, really like the First Light stuff. When they came out with this Source jacket this past season, I knew right away it was going to be a home run. So picked one of these up, and I didn't realize just how much I would use this jacket. Even from early season all the way through late season, I use this thing. It's just super lightweight, and it's super packable. I mean, you can pack this thing down, fairly small, fits in your pack. It doesn't take up a ton of room. And for as lightweight as it is super warm, and it is dang near windproof, I should say. Not quite windproof, but it is very wind resistant. So I would carry this on almost every hunt, especially in that late October time frame, where I would walk in using just my base layer, and then once I got up in the tree, I would throw this on, and that was really all I needed for a big bulk of the season, honestly. I just use this thing so much. It's super comfortable, and another thing I really like about it is it's super quiet. It does not make a whole lot of noise, and when you're bow hunting, you've got deer inside of 10 yards, that is a really, really big thing. So the Source jacket from First Light was probably my favorite clothing piece of the 2022 season. All right, so moving on from the Source jacket, we're gonna jump over to the Goal Zero Lighthouse 6000. Is it 6000? Lighthouse 600 lantern. So, as most of you know, I camp out of the back of my truck a lot, bouncing around from place to place, and having good lighting wherever you go is just a must-have. I have lights all over my truck, which I'm going to get into that in a different video, but having this when I'm at a campsite, you know, you've got, usually most campsites I get will have a picnic table or something like that, and just having a small lantern like this is, you really have to have it. And you don't have to have the Goal Zero. There's tons of other lanterns out there that are probably cheaper, but I just really like this one. I have most other Goal Zero stuff. I have their Yeti battery bank, as well as 2 different solar panels, and I'm just a big fan of the Goal Zero stuff. I pay for this stuff just like everybody else. They don't send it to us for free, so that's you know, this is just me saying this, that I'm just a really big fan of the Goal Zero products. But this lantern, you know, it's LED, it's rechargeable, so you don't have to worry about batteries. It's super bright. It runs for a really, really long time. So you can adjust that. You can charge it via USB port. So while you're driving down the road, you can charge it. I can plug it into my Goal Zero Yeti and charge it that way. It also has a crank handle on top that you can charge it as well if you get an emergency and you need to, but has different modes of lighting and all that, which I really didn't use a whole lot. I mainly just used it for a lantern while I was cooking, you know, at the back of my truck. But another cool thing is it's a battery bank as well. You can plug your phone into it via USB, and it just works great, and I was a big fan of it, and I really enjoyed using it. So check out the Goal Zero Lighthouse 600. Now the last thing, and probably the simplest item that I've been using for a couple years now that I absolutely cannot live without at this point, is this small little hook from Marsupial Gear. Now they sell these, I believe, in a 2-pack, and I think what they're designed for is you put them on the bottom of your bino harness and you can hang your bow while you're glassing or whatnot. But what I use this for is I clip this onto my saddle, and the spacing of this hook is almost dead on, like it was made to fit on the 1 sticks. So this lives on my saddle, right on my right hip, and as I'm climbing, I can clip my 1 sticks, the whole stack of them, to this little clip right here, and as I go up, I'm just popping sticks up, or popping sticks off as I go up the tree. So this little thing just makes my life so much easier, and it's a simple item. You could probably make something like this yourself, but I bought a pack of these from Marsupial Gear, and they didn't end up working with my bino harness because I had an older version. And I got to thinking, what could I use that little hook for? And it turns out that it works absolutely perfect for hauling your sticks up the tree. You know, you can put the whole stack of sticks onto that clip right there, and you make 1 trip up the tree and you're done. Now I also use it while I'm walking in, you know, to a hunting area. I'll hang my bow off of it on my saddle so I can glass, or, you know, free up my hands for a couple seconds if I need to use my phone while I'm looking at maps or whatever. And I also will hang the sticks off of this. I'll hang the whole stack off of it while I'm walking at times, just to free up my hand. A lot of times I don't like to strap the sticks to my back. When I get to the tree, I just like to have the sticks in my hands and just start climbing a lot of times if I don't have to walk too far. But this little hook just comes in super handy, and it doesn't cost, but I think 2 of them is like 12 bucks or something like that. So a Marsupial Gear little hook, and it makes my life a lot easier. So that's 4 of the items that I really enjoyed using this past year and that I absolutely could not live without. So check these items out, and hopefully that helps you out a little bit.